Julia Roberts settled into her seat at The View on a Tuesday morning, her radiant smile lighting up the set as she spoke about her new Netflix drama centered on climate activism. The segment opened smoothly, with the co-hosts lauding her performance and decades of screen success. For the first 15 minutes, the tone was upbeat, light banter, career highlights, and polished promo talk. Things took a turn when Whoopi wrapped up her praise for Julia's environmental advocacy. That's when Joy Behar jumped in with a more pointed tone. "Julia, your climate change efforts are admirable, but isn't it a bit contradictory to talk about carbon footprints while flying around in private jets?" Julia's expression shifted just slightly, her voice calm but firm. "I do my best to offset my emissions and make intentional choices. Nobody's perfect, Joy, but we all have a responsibility to try." Joy leaned in, smirking. "Isn't that what rich people always say? You've got several homes, you're constantly flying, your lifestyle leaves a bigger carbon trail than most entire neighborhoods." A noticeable tension filled the room. The air got heavier. Julia, still composed, replied, "I try to align my actions with my beliefs. I use my platform to advocate for solutions and invest in sustainable projects." Joy chuckled, clearly not finished. "Right, use your platform. That's the go-to line. But while average folks get shamed for driving pickup trucks, you're off to Cannes in a private jet." Another host attempted to redirect. "Let's not overlook Julia's impact." Joy bulldozed ahead with a sharp tone. "Or is this just another feel-good campaign for rich liberals to sleep better at night? It's easy to preach when you're sitting on a fortune." Julia's practiced grace started to slip. "You really don't seem to understand what I actually do, Joy." Joy didn't miss a beat. "I understand just fine. You make climate movies, then head back to a mansion that guzzles more power than a city block. That's not activism, that's theater." Sarah Haynes cautiously interjected, "Maybe we focus on the film." But Julia had already straightened in her seat, her eyes narrowed with intent. "You know what, Joy? You're right. I live a privileged life, but I'm trying to use that privilege to do something meaningful. What do you use your platform for, other than tearing people down?" The room stirred. Julia wasn't playing nice anymore. Joy edged forward, sensing a spark she could ignite. "I use my platform to be honest, something your industry could use more of. Most of you actors just dress up your contradictions and call it activism." Julia's voice hardened. "I've invested millions into environmental causes. I've spoken to lawmakers, overhauled my lifestyle, and tried to make change happen. What have you done besides sit at this desk passing judgment?" Alyssa Farah Griffin tried to offer balance. "Maybe we can respect both." Julia cut in sharply. "No, this isn't about balance. This is about someone trying to help being attacked for it. That's not an exchange of ideas. That's cruelty." Joy's voice turned cutting. "Please, you're not a martyr. You're an actress who pretends for a living and thinks that earns you moral authority." Suddenly, Julia rose from her chair. The audience collectively gasped. "You know what, Joy? You're absolutely right. I do pretend for a living. But when I do, I build something. You pretend to be a journalist and tear everything down." A stunned silence gripped the studio. Even Whoopi was speechless. Julia didn't stop. Her southern drawl deepened, laced with fury. "You sit here every day passing judgment on people you've never met, on lives you've never lived, and you call that a job?" Joy jumped up too, defensive now. "I've been doing this for years." "Years of what?" Julia shot back. "Years of bitterness, of cutting down every person who tries to make a difference, masking envy with smug sarcasm." Julia circled the table, turning to the crowd. "You want to know why I care about the environment? Because I'm a mother. I've seen ecosystems vanish, watched nature burn. And yes, I have money, but I use it to help.
That's not hypocrisy, that's purpose. What you're witnessing is the moment when Hollywood royalty refuses to play nice with daytime TV bullies. When someone who spent decades being gracious finally says enough. This is the clash between those who create and those who only criticize. And it's exactly the kind of truth mainstream media tries to edit out. Real moments like this show why unfiltered conversations matter.
Joy scrambled to recover control. This is what I meant. Celebrities hate being challenged. Julia let out a humorless laugh. Challenge would be a discussion about solutions. What you were doing is slander. You didn't critique my approach. You called me a fraud, without the faintest clue what I actually do. She grabbed her phone. You want to talk hypocrisy? Let's scroll. Here you are flaunting luxury getaways. Here's you boasting about designer shopping. Here's you sneering at activists. But I'm the problem? Whoopi stepped in, trying to calm the tension. Julia, let's not... No, Whoopi. Julia turned to her, unwavering. For years, I've taken the high road, smiling through interviews while people like Joy land cheap jabs and get laughs at my expense. Enough. She locked eyes with Joy. You want to know the real difference between us? When I see someone trying, I lift them up. You see someone trying, and you pull them down. That's not journalism. It's just mean. Joy flushed. You can't handle real questions. Julia's voice climbed, steady but fierce. You didn't ask a question. You demeaned, you mocked, you tried to reduce years of work into a punchline for ratings. That's not inquiry, it's bullying. Security edged closer. Julia noticed and scoffed. Oh, right, bring in security because I dared to stand up to Joy Behar. Heaven forbid someone pushes back on this show's toxic little ecosystem. She looked at the other women at the table. How do you sit here every day and let this happen? Watch her tear into guests and call it discourse. Are your paychecks worth your dignity? Sonny tried to intervene. Julia, maybe that's not...
Not what? Julia snapped. Not fair? Was it fair when she called me a hypocrite? When she turned serious work into a joke? Where was your sense of fairness then? She grabbed her bag, hands trembling. I'm done. Done pretending this is normal. Done smiling while bitter voices take aim at anyone who dares to care. She turned toward the exit. Joy called after her, running away, typical Hollywood. Julia stopped, turned back, fire in her gaze. You know what's typical, Joy? A woman who's added nothing to the world, spending her life mocking those who have. Someone so eaten up by cynicism, they don't even recognize sincerity anymore. A host who thinks cruelty is wit. She looked into the camera. To everyone watching who's ever tried to do something meaningful and been laughed at, keep going. The Joy Behars of the world will always be there, throwing stones from the sidelines. Her final words rang out. I'd rather be an imperfect person trying to help than a perfect cynic helping no one. And if that makes me a Hollywood hypocrite in Joy's eyes, I'll wear that label with pride. She walked off the stage to a standing ovation from half the crowd. The show never recovered its footing. They cut to commercial immediately, and when they returned, Joy was absent. The remaining hosts barely made it through the next segment before calling it a day.
Online, the moment ignited like wildfire. The hashtag Julia Roberts was right surged to the top of trending charts, racking up 500 million views in less than 24 hours. Stars rallied behind Julia, even those who normally avoided drama. Leonardo DiCaprio tweeted, "I get the same treatment from my environmental work. Julia handled that with more class than most ever could." Meghan McCain posted, "Watched a woman get ambushed for trying to help the planet. What's Joy Behar ever done for any cause? Seriously." The fallout was swift. Environmental groups condemned The View. Sponsors withdrew. The network faced mounting pressure to confront the show's culture. Joy's solo attempt to clarify her side the next day fell flat. Without someone to target, she seemed small and bitter.
Meanwhile, Julia posted a thoughtful message on Instagram. I lost my temper, yes, but I won't apologize for defending work that matters. We're in a climate emergency. We need people doing what they can, even imperfectly. Mocking those who try is the real problem. She closed with a pointed line. To Joy Behar, I hope someday you care about something more than tearing others down. The world has enough critics. It needs more creators. The clash became a cultural flashpoint, fueling discussions about cynicism in media and the hostility toward anyone trying to make a difference. Months later, during a keynote at a major climate summit, Julia addressed the incident.
That moment on The View crystallized something for me. The biggest obstacle to progress isn't those who oppose it, it's those who mock anyone who tries. Joy Behar represents that cynicism, but cynicism is just cowardice dressed up as wisdom. The revolution wasn't planned, it wasn't scripted. It was just a woman who'd spent decades being gracious, finally running out of patience for graceless people. It was proof that sometimes the most powerful statement is refusing to smile through disrespect, even from America's sweetheart, especially from America's sweetheart, because when Julia Roberts stops smiling, you know something's seriously wrong.